Should the president get tough on trade, or because of our relationship with China, get real on trade? Joining us now to talk about that, CNBC contributor Peter Navarro and Dan Griswold, director of the Center for Trade Policy Studies at the Cato Institute. Welcome, gentlemen. I'm going to start with you, Peter. You think it should be issue number one, which it might well be, but you think he has to get very tough at this point. What about the risk of a trade war?
Michelle, we've been in a trade war since 2001 when China joined the WTO and started using all its unfair trade practices to destroy our manufacturing base. 55% of our trade deficit is with China when you exclude oil imports. And I'll tell you this, President Obama, there's big political stakes here because he's going to be a one-termer. If he can't bring in Ohio, Michigan, Illinois, and Pennsylvania, and he won't unless he deals with the China problem, he's out of there.
Okay.
It's in the interest of China, though, also, because this is an unsustainable equilibrium. China needs to boost its consumption sector. We need to boost our export sector.
Dan.
And we go.
You think that this basically is about to the unions and that he should not get tougher, he should extend a hand, in essence.
Yeah, the tariffs on tires was a purely political decision. It was a sop to one labor union. It will do nothing to create jobs or encourage the economic recovery. You know, it's not economical to make these tires here in the United States. If we don't import them from China, they'll come from Indonesia and Brazil and Venezuela. This is why the tire manufacturing industry itself didn't support these tariffs. The only people the president's getting tough with are American consumers and low-income consumers who would buy these tires. They're going to pay 20 or 30% more for tires for their car to keep their cars on the road safely.
Okay,
the president
Dennis.
It's going to be the poorest people, Peter, who pay higher prices. Peter, let me just
hang on, wait a second,
Peter, no, you know what?
Actually,
we're in charge. I want to ask you, Peter. What I worry about, we started this fight because we did the tire thing, and now they're doing the chicken thing, although they're threatening and they might not do it. But look at what happens, Peter, when a little thing like this is allowed to stay around.
This isn't a question, Dennis.
Take a look at this story in the front page of the Wall Street Journal.
Here's the deal, Dennis.
Peter, take a look at the story in the front page of the Wall Street Journal today.
Dennis, you're on all hour. Give me a few minutes here to talk, buddy.
In the 1960s, LBJ passed, if I could speak, please. In the 1960s, LBJ passed a tariff against Europe. Okay, and today, 40 years later, Ford is having to rip the seats out of a van it imports to avoid a 25% tariff. This is hurting a U.S. maker.
Okay, you were going to ask me a question. Look, you guys are both, you and Dan are both playing checkers in a chess world. This whole tire thing it's not even about tires, Dan. This was simply a probe to see what the Obama administration would do on the general question of trade reform. Dan, when he was working in the Bush administration, Bush said no 4 times on these kind of complaints. Now Obama says yes. What this means strategically is there's going to be a lot of different complaints that have come forward, and we're going to crack down on China indirectly through this process rather than Obama and who's sitting there and doing what they need to do, which was get to currency reform.
Very quick response, Dan, if you could, because we have to go.
This was a failure of the president's leadership. The timing couldn't be worse. He's telling the rest of the world to keep markets open to U.S. exports, and President Obama raises tariffs on imports to the United States. We look hypocritical to the rest of the world.
Glad we solved that, gentlemen. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Take care.